I'm going to introduce Dr. Moon's son. Dr. Moon's son is currently teaching Christian education at Yonsei University in Seoul. Please correct my pronunciation if I did not get that right. He earned his PhD, master's, and bachelor's degree from Yonsei University and is also an ordained pastor in the Korean Methodist Church and currently serves as the senior pastor of Jesus Love Methodist Church in Seoul. He wrote that he began his academic journey with the Religious Education Association in 2004, and that the REA has been the heart and soul of his academic life in religious education and a primary channel for global fellowship. We look forward to what you have to say. So please take it away, Dr. Moonson.
Thank you so much. I'm very honored to present my research topic. I share with the slide. Okay. So my name is Dr. Moonson. I'm teaching religious education at Yonsei University. So my research topic is religious education for the younger generation in the age of artificial intelligence-driven digital revolution. This is my research team and Professor Hyun-soo Kim at Yonsei University. She is team leader of our research team. Okay. Content includes machine learning versus human intelligence, the younger generation in digital media, methodology, a new model of religious education, forming post-conventional Christian identity. Okay, machine learning represents a core function of artificial intelligence. The main role of a machine learning system can be understood as automating tasks to identify statistical structures in numerous examples. In this context, the statistical rules that describe the relationship among specific examples serve as foundational basis of any machine learning system. This is the representative figure to contrast between classical programming and machine learning. So we can find the different location of answer and the rules. In the cases of classical programming, the location of rules is placed in the input area. However, in the machine learning, so rules the location is in output layer. The modeling process of machine learning focuses on the feedback step of algorithm to adjust the distance between the current output and the expected output. The performance of artificial intelligence, therefore, depends on algorithms' ability to generate statistical structure which identifies rule to accurately described components of various example and their relationships. To understand the functional role of artificial intelligence, the architecture of the perceptron offers valuable insight as a simple example of a neural network that illustrates most of the basic machine learning models. Generally, the structure of a neural network, which is a fundamental component of artificial intelligence, consists of input and output layers with the hidden layer positioned between them. The perceptron algorithm has the computational capability to process various input layer and produce aggregated value in the output layer. This is achieved through the activation function of the hidden layer, which mathematically minimizes the error in machine learning. The algorithmic distinction of the perceptron architecture, which converges to achieve zero error, serves as a fundamental unit for determining the accuracy of machine learning. The backpropagation algorithm is widely used to optimize machine learning models. For example, ChatGPT has a backpropagation algorithm. A lot of AI agents include backpropagation. This algorithm, similar to the feedback loop of system theory, repeatedly and continuously corrects the network errors. The stream of information in any system generally has the direction to start from input and go to output. And in that process, the system used to produce each coaster. The backpropagation algorithm treats coast as information as using reverse direction, starting from the output and moving toward the input, applies a method to reduce network errors, continuously repeating this process. Even though these are very limited explanation of artificial intelligence, they clearly demonstrate it inherently incorporate various machine learning algorithms to automatically reduce errors and actively enhance performance. Godfellow and his fellow research fellows describe this capability of machine learning as implemented in artificial intelligence as follows. Quote, the introduction of machine learning enabled computers to tackle problems involving knowledge of the real world and make decisions that appear subjective. This effectively illustrates active autonomy and potential for continuous development of artificial intelligence. However, human intelligence is closely related to activity of specific nerve cells, which indicate structural relationship between human intelligence and the human brain. This figure shows the relationship and the lifespan and some cognitive problems, such as Alzheimer's. Okay, for example, cognitive decline associated with aging, meaning that older individuals often experience reduction of information processing, speed, and spatial memory, is linked to brain structural changes such as brain atrophy, sulci, ventricles, and gray matter differences between older and younger individuals as observed in magnetic resonance imaging. MRI, this figure MRI provide the differences between brain structures of younger people and older peoples. Faglier and Mattison state, quote, at the cellular level, all major cell types in the brain undergo structural changes as a function of age. This suggests that the basic units of human intelligence, such as cognitive function and memory, are closely linked to both structural changes and activity at the cellular level of the human brain. The cognitive neuroscience approach clearly demonstrates the brain's response to any external event can be measured through electronical activity of neural networks in the brain. An experiment conducted on adults to measure brain activity in the mirror neuron system, researchers have found that the system responds differently at the same action depending on specific intention behind it. For example, when a person grabs a mug, the brain activity in the mirror neural system varies depending on the context, whether the person is picking up the mug to drink at the tea party or cleansing it after the tea party. If we understand human intelligence from the perspective of brain activity, external conditions become the determining factor for the occurrence of human intelligence. This highlights clear difference between human intelligence and artificial intelligence in relation to external condition. Human intelligence responds sensitively to its environment. Contrast artificial intelligence equipped with various machine learning algorithms can operate autonomously, independently of external condition. Second part, the algo generation in digital media. The use of digital media brings about comprehensive transformation in younger people's life. They create social networks through digital media in which they share common interests. The sense of belonging in such networks is determined by active participation in sharing knowledge and various resources through digital media. The intelligence accumulated through digital media, therefore, extends beyond individual performance and exhibits the characteristics of distributed and collective intelligence. However, a problematic and challenging issue may arise in the process of digital revolution as human capacities are replaced by artificial intelligence. Generally, religious printed texts or archives in congregational life require deep reading, which demands readers' focused concentration. However, in the digital context, characterized by a diffused social network, it is difficult to expect young people to maintain focused and concentrated attention while reading. Likewise, the loss of human intelligence, including cognitive capacities due to the digital revolution of artificial intelligence, is a challenging issue that must be seriously addressed in both academic, practical fields of religious education. The linear relationship between human capacity and artificial intelligence provides the possibility for religious education to help the younger generation address challenging issues of the digital revolution from a social structural perspective. The economic issue of who possess high-performing artificial intelligence shakes the fundamental foundation of a meritocratic society, which has traditionally governed by human capacity. The issue of social inequality exacerbated by the innovative technologies, such as neoliberal system, which tend to foster excessive competition, driven by the pursuit of higher performance and achievement in the economic, cultural, and political spheres. Religious education in response to this social challenge must recognize the younger generation's frustration and uncertainty within society driven by endless competition. It requires an innovative transformation that transcends traditional boundaries between teachers and learners, fostering the shared understanding of experiences and knowledge production in a digitally mediated educational environment. In an age shaped by artificial intelligence, the reciprocal relationship between teachers and learners gives rise to a deeper understanding of humanity. The concept of human contingency fosters an awareness of interrelatedness and mutual reliance among individuals, presupposing interdependence between oneself and others. Joyce Mercer states, quote, "We are instead deeply contingent beings. Contingency refers to that which is dependent on something else." Acknowledging human contingency means recognizing the inherent limitation of human existence and understanding that the perspective of the other is the essential factor of human life. Jennifer Ayers approaches human limitation from the vulnerability. She says, quote, "All of us who live are exposed to the possibility of pain and the certainty of death, and this fundamental truth is both the source of connection with other vulnerable beings and conversely, the seed from attempts at autonomy are sprung." Her approach emphasizes precarious vulnerability of human beings, serves as motivation for mutual solidarity, fostering collective resilience, and becoming a key resource for religious education, healing a precarious world. This perspective provides a foundation for reinterpreting human limitations such as contingency and vulnerability within the age of artificial intelligence, which is characterized by algorithmic perfection. In other words, discovering the essence of human existence with the death of contingency and vulnerability may be a profound irony in an age dominated by robotics and automation led by artificial intelligence. And third part of this research methodology, This research focuses on the voices of a younger generation in turmoil, rather than viewing young people through the lens of incompleteness, a perspective imposed by others who assume responsibility for and seek to protect them. It aims to explore the goal of adolescence, the voices of young people and their grievances in their own perspectives. The ethnographic approach used in the research is an effective methodology for listening to young people's conflict, calls, and experiences of faith within congregation and school life. With a perspective of care and empathy rather than unbiased observation, focusing on the stories of young people effectively demonstrates the usefulness of an ethnographic approach in the study of adolescence. Moreover, using the various indices such as general attitudes towards artificial intelligence scale, attitude toward Christianity, spiritual well-being, and post-conventional Christian identity, the research collects raw data of young people in Christian schools in Korea and analyzes their faith and spiritual lives through conventional statistic methodology and deep learning approaches powered by artificial intelligence. Analyzing the religiosity and spiritual practices of the young generation using quantum machine learning technology is an innovative research strategy. Quantum machine learning as an information processing computation actualized by a quantum computer possesses the properties of quantum mechanics and is distinct from classical computers, which encompass all types of computers and except quantum computers. If a classical computer processes digital signals using discrete states of 0 and 1, quantum machine learning leverages the principle of quantum mechanics by computing through a linear superposition of their states. Additionally, it encodes information in a manner that enables the measurement of correlations between systems through mechanics of quantum entanglement. The fundamental characteristics of quantum mechanics, the ability to describe superposition and interference, whereas a system simultaneously follows both the 0 and 1 path, is demonstrated in experiments involving photon source. This phenomenon contrasts with classical intuition, which assumes strict division between 0 and 1 passes. This figure shows us very important distinction of quantum entanglement. Left side, the beam slitter above contactor 50% and 50%. However, some reorganization usually think the figure 9.9, we think assume above contactor 50% and the right contactor is 50%. However, the measurement of the photon experiment only the right side contactor 100%. Figure 1.11, the 0 passes. This is the entanglement as experimental phenomenon. Okay, therefore, a qubit state as the fundamental unit of describing information processing in quantum computation, forming a basis of superposition and entanglement in and quantum mechanics can be geometrically represented as a vector pointing from the original surface of a sphere, which has the shape of ball. This figure shows us quantum cubics movement below spheres in qubit. Catherine Keller, she is a philosopher, theologian, Duke University, epistemologically embraces the language of entanglement in quantum physics through the lens of relational ontology or ontological inseparability, emphasizing its experiential reality in the singular moment of space-time. In a theological framework, the concept of superposition and entanglement in quantum physics function as transcendental metaphors eliminating participation in the mystery of Jesus Christ's incarnation, transfiguration, and resurrection. Joyce Mercer defines the focus of practical theology as transcending the limitations of single disciplinary boundaries by disrupting fixed identities at the borders of knowledge and practice and actively crossing these boundaries. From her perspective, the interdisciplinarity of practical theology is represented through the image of a traveler with a fluid identity embodying a flexible hybridity that navigates across disciplinary boundaries. The image of flexible traveler crossing boundaries like a qubit state moving from the center to the surface of a sphere aptly captures dynamic role of religious educators in engaging with liminal spaces of the younger generation, navigating their evolving identities. These movements of religious educators can be remembered as moments of theological singularity in which they participate in the mystery of Jesus Christ's incarnation, transfiguration, and resurrection. The last part, a model of religious education forming some post-conventional identity. The fourth model of religious education, the younger generation in the age of artificial intelligence-driven digital revolution, we aptly educational principles, the post-conventional Christian identity proposed by Professor Hyun-soo Kim of Yonsei University in South Korea. This educational model, characterized by construction of learning environment, helps the younger generation understand their own liminal spaces and reconstruct, transform their thoughts and the life orientation by fostering shared understanding and encouraging critical reflection on their status quo. Amid global uncertainty and vulnerability under a neoliberal social system accelerated by the rapid advancement of artificial intelligence, this model equips learners with the flexible capacity to subjectively, autonomously reformulate the core values of Christian faith with a web of interdependence with public discourse and to reorganize the value of life through open and equitable collaboration with competing others while recognizing potential sources of religious inspiration. Religious education that fosters post-conventional Christian identity is grounded in the principles of relationality, equality, and openness, which functions as core educational goals and purposes in learning environment. The principal relationality is characterized by simultaneous emphasis on freedom and interdependence, which are often seen as opposing orientation. This principle encourages full reciprocity by respecting communication partners as moral others, emphasize intersubjective recognition rather than difference and separation among class members within the learning environment. Christian identity of relationality, therefore, contributes to sustaining Christian symbolic systems such as love, peace, and justice in the lives of young people, even amid uncertain social situation and rapid social change. The principal equality relates to learners' capacity to fairly regulate and manage their own roles and responsibilities in both public and private spheres. It is not easy to young people to fairly integrate their Christian faith and practices as a response towards God's love within the highly differentiated social structures of family, school, congregation, and the digital sphere. Therefore, the principle of equality can be expressed through educational activities that develop learners' capacity to equally and fairly allocate their roles and responsibilities in both ecclesial and non-ecclesial contexts. The principle of openness relates to the inner self's capacity to recognize those with opposing views as equal partners through open communication. This principle is distinguished by its ability to move beyond radical dichotomies to exist within diverse areas of life and to promote a peaceful coexistence of global society within the Trinitarian fellowship of Christians shaped by a framework of diversification and flexibility. In the learning environment of religious education, the principal openness can be seen as a flexible, dynamic educational channel that enriches divine dimension of Christian faith and tradition through engagement with globalized cultural reality. My target empirical studies, Sunghi Girls High School and Inwa Medio High Schools, and both schools located in Seoul, in South Korea. In order to verify the educational potential of religious education model based on PCI, in an age of the artificial intelligence-driven digital revolution, we construct empirical study at Sunghi Girls High School and Ihwa Medio High School in Seoul, South Korea. Sunghi Girls High School is affiliated with Korean Presbyterian Church, while Ihwa Medio High School follows the Episcopal tradition of the Korean Methodist Church. Both schools, each with over 100 years of tradition, are representative Christian high schools in South Korea. However, they employ distinct strategic approaches in practice of religious education. Reverend Sohak-jung, head chaplain of Sunghi Girls High School, emphasizes the importance of Christian faith and its distinctive tradition as a core value of the school. He focuses on instilling a Bible value system in his students through cooperation and support from neighboring congregation. However, Reverend Daegi Lee, head chaplain of Ihwa Medio High School, understands the purpose of religious education as the formation of a meaning system grounded in Christian values. His approach to religious education maintains a certain distance from directly seeking to make students Christian believers. Reverend Daegi Lee believes that religious education in Christian schools should support students in freely and voluntarily choosing their own religious values and traditions rather than emphasizing a particular religious tradition. This orientation aligns with the Korean government policy on religious education, which supports instruction across a variety of religious traditions. Our research is currently undergoing the process of obtaining informed consent from both students, their parents, teachers, and school leadership in both schools, with accountability ensured through the institutional review board IRB at Yonsei University in South Korea. The Post-Conventional Christian Identity PCI questionnaire consists of 24 items which serves as index to measure faithful growth and development in this study. We selected these items for the PCI questionnaire based on the analysis of preliminary research conducted from September 2024 and February 25. Participants rated the PCI item using a 5-point Likert scale ranging from strongly disagree to strongly agree. This process involved examining the scale properties of the PCI index, specifically the item rest correlations and Cronbach's alpha coefficient, as well as the result of both exploratory factor analysis, EFA, and confirmatory factor analysis, CFA. For example, rationality questions, relationality questions. I appreciate engaging in discussion and dialogues with others. I value having good relationship with others and considering maintaining them important. I prefer an educational environment that encourages dialogue and discussion among classmates. I believe it is important to acknowledge gender differences between men and women, listen carefully to others' voices. Equality questions. in our learning environment, it is important to foster equal relationship between teachers and learners. I prefer readership that is consistently persuasive and engaging in dialogue with community members. Even when others have different perspectives and opinions from mine, I make an effort to understand and respect them. It is possible to talk with God with an open mind. And third, openness questions. I have made a habit of listening carefully to the voices of the socially marginalized. I tend to resolve problems through patience and patient and consistent, rooted in compromise. God's love is expressed through an open and accepting attitude toward human beings and all living creatures in nature. The church should acknowledge and consider the thoughts, arguments, and opinions non-believers as well. This study employs 12 selective, chosen positive, and 8 negative statements from the general attitudes toward artificial intelligence scale identified by Chapman and Rodway to examine how post-conventional Christian identity influences young people's perspectives on AI. If the statistical analysis between PCI index as the independent variable and the GAIS guys as the dependent variable conducted through multiple regression analysis yields statistically significant results than religious education based on PCI post-conventional Christian identity may serve as an effective model for religious young people in an age of uncertainty shaped by artificial intelligence. Second point, Francis' scale of attitude toward Christianity and spiritual well-being index are used as independent variables in relation to religious-based post-conventional Christian identity, which serves as the dependent variable. In this statistical analysis, multivariate multiple regression is used to examine the statistical relationship between one dependent variable and two or more independent variables. This is the research map, post-conventional Christian identity, influential factor to AI attitude, and attitude toward Christianity and spirituality. The research main question, does religious growth and development based on PCI serve as a significant factor in explaining the younger generation's attitude toward artificial intelligence? Can the younger generation's attitude toward Christianity be changed? And can their spiritual well-being be improved through religious practice based on post-conventional Christian identity? And our research survey also includes 4 open-ended questions in which young people express their thoughts and opinions freely, as illustrated by the following examples. How do you envision the future of society shaped by artificial intelligence? What is your ideal image of a Christian? What is the happiest moment in your memory? Which practices of religious education do you enjoy? The text-based responses of these questions, as described by young people, are valuable resources for analyzing the structural patterns of young generations' religious languages and their everyday life stories. Our research task is to analyze the younger generation's emotional, linguistic, and semantic differences by applying the research framework of quantum natural language processing, which addresses the limitation of classical natural language processing, NLP, through the advantages offered by quantum computing. After dividing participants into low and high groups based on the PCI index calculated in this survey, the central task is to analyze differences of the text-based responses using quantum NLP. The quantum natural language processing offers a quantum advantage in handling linguistic structures through quantum circuits, which are realized via the principles of quantum entanglement, These are structures that classical natural language processing cannot effectively manage due to its limitations in complexity, computational capacity. Okay, if our experimental research yields meaningful results in validating the mystical and multi-layered nature of religious language through QNLP, it could open a new frontier for developing artificial intelligence with religious characteristics. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. We are now going to, excuse me, we are now going to open up the conversation for
Yeah.
questions. You can either post the questions in the chat and I will read them out, or you can use the React button on the bottom to raise your hand. And then I'll, call your name and you can ask your question or make a comment, or, as we continue to engage in conversation. As people are doing that, I first want to ask a clarifying question, which is probably something that I just missed. With the young people you are working with, what are their ages?
Yes, so I think he's young people's. So, uh, so, so we have some plan to study to the qualitative and quantitative research uh, through, through the meeting with young generation in the school context and in
Okay.
both schools. Okay, so but yeah.
Thanks.
Is
Any
so
questions?
yeah, but however, so I do not have
Mhm.
special agent of religious education for younger generation. So
Okay. Actually, sorry, just to clarify, I was asking how old are they that you're looking to speak to the students?
usually is 16 years from 16 years to 18 years. The high school students.
Okay.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks. Dr. Atkins asked if we can get a copy of the presentation.
Mm,
Um,
okay. I share my
okay.
presentation.
Okay. And we have a question from Russell Dalton.
Mm.
Well, I want to thank you so much for this presentation. You brought in so many ideas. This aging brain, as you can see on the MRI, is having trouble processing your paper, but your presentation made it more accessible. I'm glad that you are sharing that.
Thank you so much.
Yes, and it also just makes me feel good how much you are drawing upon Religious Education Association members, and just to realize all of the work that we're doing in this field. My question is that your research has focuses on 16 to 18-year-olds, but I see the implications even for my master's level students at Divinity School, the 22 years old on up. And so I was wondering if this research has changed any of the way that you teach your university students. What are some of the implications? What are some of the applications you make to this research on your teaching of your university students?
Yes, this is very main task of my research. Uh, Usually, my teaching and learning environment is university rather than high school students and younger generations. Therefore, it is very and limited information and experiences with encountering them. So that is very important point. Some Therefore, I'm talking with some readers of younger generation, such as chaplains of high school. So we are talking with their experiences and their need and some difficulties in the context of artificial intelligence. Some research process, I think research process, correcting data and meeting with a lot of younger generations. For me, very important chance to learn from them. Some Yes, that is my main task for since this research is basic research foundation is uh, so planning for religious education textbook for uh, artificial intelligence. That we can place basic and theoretical and practical foundation for that making books. Therefore, we need younger generations' experience and their faithful formation. Very important. um, some target. So my research is correcting and their experiences and base foundation. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for your research
You're
in the
welcome. Thank you
paper.
so much.
We have a question from Dr. Maryhouse.
I have to just start by saying this was fascinating and probably a little bit over my head. And so I hope that I can frame this question in a way that helps me to understand. But I was fascinated. I loved your description of the way in which the large language learning models are working through the back propagation, the output back, going that way to that sort of hidden thing in the middle. I was fascinated by that description. I think it matches what I know from other things. Then you made this move to talk about quantum computing and to talk about the ways in which quantum computing uses the superposition, the qubit metaphor. I followed you there. Now, then you at the very end, you said something that was very evocative for me about if we can understand some of these pieces, we may be able to. It wasn't clear to me. Do you mean put in place a religious consciousness for artificial intelligence or something? You said something at the end there about the way in which this research could lead to, a better grasp of religious consciousness with artificial intelligence. Can you say a little bit more about that?
Yes. So this research is places so and some target. So basically, I places some for younger generations. So religious model for younger generations in the age of artificial intelligences. This is the basic purpose of this research. And the other research target is the very long-term research goal is so the artificial, some planning the artificial intelligences having the religious characteristics. For example, and ChatGPT is the representative artificial intelligence agent. The backpropagation is very so distinction of such as artificial intelligence agents. So artificial intelligence agents having the heart engine of a goal-oriented purpose, a goal-oriented purpose. So, for example, a recurrent neural network is the representative algorithm of some artificial intelligence. Such algorithms' characteristics influences human mind and human thought. So therefore, the goal-oriented some algorithm influences the human mind. However, human mind has some different with goal-oriented algorithmic structures. Therefore, I think as alternative algorithmic model of quantum mechanics. For example, quantum NLP, natural language processes, having the quantum mechanism of entanglement and superposition inferences. So within the quantum circuit, such mechanism organize the language as structures. So my idea is when I using the QNLP, so such artificial intelligence algorithm include complexity and multi-level language language some phenomena of religious characteristics, religious languages. Therefore, I provide some alternative model. So for enhancing of the and so the so most of and artificial intelligence agencies. So however, so very limited is quantum so computation and quantum NLP has a lot of errors. So error, the error so and backpropagation, it is impossible in the quantum NLP. Therefore, the error is significant problem to processing this algorithm. So, okay, that is a long-term plan.
Yeah, no, but thank you. That helps actually. That helps a lot. Thank you. It's fascinating. It's truly fascinating.
Yes, Catherine Keller at Duke University. So she said the theology of entanglement provide me very and theological hint for me. So and thank you so much.
Thank you. We have a question in the chat from Yen Du. I appreciate that you advocate for fostering an equal relationship between teacher and student. How would you argue against the idea held by many educators that relationship between teacher and student is always a hierarchical relationship?
So emergence, as we know, emergence of so appearance of artificial intelligences, so educational environment totally changing. So in this the former situation before the artificial intelligences, teacher had a significant authority toward learners. However, recently, teaching environment, artificial intelligence is very important some agent of our learning environment. So a lot of professors, for example, I am studying artificial intelligences in data science research center at Yonsei University every Saturday, and special course for teaching fellow of Yonsei University. In this laboratory of teaching so professor using very high level artificial intelligence. He paid so $200 per month. So likewise, artificial intelligence, very important agency for teaching environment. Therefore, and teaching model after appearance of artificial intelligences and cooperation between teacher and learner with artificial intelligence is very effective and learning and teaching model. So we are experiencing every day in our classroom.
Right. So you're, if I understand you correctly, you're seeing artificial intelligence as an equalizer of sorts in terms of knowledge or access to knowledge, right? Okay. Thank you. We have another question here from Dr. Charles Atkins. QNLP can also help spiritually enlightened people returning home from prison to maintain their spiritual focus while navigating the many distractions of the free world. Would you agree?
Yes. Okay, so can you explain more precisely explain for your questions, Dr. Charles Atkins?
Sure. Good to
Okay,
see
hi.
you again, Dr.
Yes,
Simon.
hello.
So good to see you,
I'm
sir.
very glad to meet you. Yeah, okay.
Yes, well, it seems that your use of QNLP can help young people to retain focus. As we know, the use of artificial intelligence can make young people more distracted. I would argue that it is making all adults very distracted through the use of our devices, our cell phones, the internet, chat GPT, etc. And when we are talking about religion, when we're talking about faith, we have to be able to focus. We have to be able to filter out what is important in our life journey. And it seems to me that what you are proposing can be a tool to help people to maintain their spiritual focus, to maintain their sense of meaning and direction and purpose in life.
Okay.
Am I correct?
Thank you so much. A very wonderful experience. Yes, when I using the AI agent such as ChatGPT, so every day, every time when I studying research, the serious problem is I think is the goal-oriented algorithms problem. I think so. When I using some AI agent, I think AI agent response is truth. So however, such agent has many mistakes. However, the AI agent has the goal-oriented distinction, provide us very limited thinking, focused, very limited thinking. QNLP is technically, there are many error problems. However, I think basically QNLP provides as analogically provides a very insightful idea and coexistence and mysterious coexistence of differences at oppositions thesis. These are provide a very important solution for young generation, especially in the such as very special circumstances in prison environment. A prison environment and very closed space. Such environment provide their thinking is and their life is very closed and limited in their spaces, since a human being has a relationship with their environment. However, some QNLP provide very important solution of very possible insight of open idea and consistent coexistence of very antithetical entities. Since it is very important for such as very Trinitarian and mysterious about otherness and sameness coexistence, I think. So even though there are many technical problems, but is QNLP provide us very important and target and problem solution and alternative of recent and contemporary, a lot of an AI agent such as ChatGPT and so on. Since very strong goal-oriented algorithm. So this is very important. My research and concern and interest.
Okay. Thank you, sir. We're going to talk about that. We can write it together. We're going to work on something. I already got an idea. We'll talk. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Excellent. We will hold the floor open for one more question if there is one. I am not seeing a comment or raised hand, so thank you so much, Dr. Moonson, for your presentation. That certainly gave us a lot to think about. Like Mary Hess, I was holding on, but you made it very clear with things that I'm not usually as technically understanding of. But your presentation was very clear and extremely helpful. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you. God bless. Thank you so much.